Looking like everybody's finding their seat and everything, so I'll go ahead and get everything kicked off. So, hello everybody. It's great to have you here. I actually want to start by thanking the Temple Terrace Golf and Country Club for hosting us tonight. They've been great. And then, traditionally for our meetings, what we do is we start off with the prayer and the pledge. So I'm going to open up with a word of prayer, and then we'll continue from there. So, Lord, thank you for the opportunity for all of us to freely assemble today and have this evening to celebrate our endorsees and to introduce some candidates. I ask that you watch over all of us and help Hillsborough County to be more and more in line with your will, and for all of us to go out here today empowered to do more good in the Hillsborough County and help us to walk closely with you and your will. And bless the food to our bellies. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. And now, is Jason around? He's got the baby, so I'm going to call up George instead. George, can you come up here? Yeah, have someone lead the pledge here.
Alrighty?
Good.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I pledge allegiance to the Constitution.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and just for context, George is our vice president, so.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, vice chair. And then next in our agenda, Kurt, who is one of our great and active members, is going to come up and do the next part of the program. So, you want the sheet?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. We'll leave it at the podium.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
You call me up when I'm next.
Yeah, okay. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're glad to have such a wonderful group of great patrons here tonight to help us. The next man, first speaker we have tonight, is no stranger to us in the RLC world. He is a legend. His name is John Carroll. He currently is the RLC National Membership Director and State Director at Large. John's a distinguished military veteran, military policeman, served in Iraq. He also is in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. John graduated from St. Leo University, political science, and he also did in history and certificates in Homeland Security. John is also trained in FEMA Emergency Management Institute, where he has received that. He has a long distinguished career in Republican grassroots organizations and the party. He was also served as the Florida Young Republicans in that area there. In the RLC, he's been a communications director, he's been a regional director, a state membership director, state director at large, and now national membership director. He's also been involved, previously served on the Oldsmar Board of Adjustment, Hernando County Planning Zone, and Commission. And just recently, he was appointed, a great appointment by our great Governor Ron DeSantis, to serve as a commissioner on the Hernando County Housing Authority. No further ado, let's bring John Carroll up, the legend of the RLC, to tell us what this great organization does.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'll make sure I'm quick about this. I won't take up too much time. The first thing I do want to say, though, is that it's great to see an event like this happening. Okay, because this is a newer chapter. This chapter has not been around for too long and already set up events, already been involved, already been endorsing. There are some chapters, it takes a long time before they get the ground game up. You know, I know Colonel Wright can tell you that Manatee, they already had an infrastructure when they became a chapter, and they've been just killing it left and right. So the fact that you guys have been building up like this is a great thing. So, to start off with the history of the RLC quickly, is that the RLC was first founded in 1991, ironically at the University of Florida. A number of the students there felt that the Republican Party was pulling away from its liberty and constitutional roots, the roots that they knew from the days of like Ronald Reagan or Barry Goldwater and etc. You know, at this point, you know, HW was president, so they felt it was pulling away. So they wanted to get it back to its roots, and they created the Republican Liberty Caucus. And over time, it's become a real powerhouse with some distinguished members and distinguished leadership. one of the founding members and the second ever national chair. You know what? I think I could yell loud enough. I think that needs to be charged. So some of the great leaders that we've had at the national level include guys like Roger McBride, a Vermont state representative. When he passed away, his successor, we couldn't do better than Congressman Ron Paul. And currently we have our national leadership is from here in Florida is Matt Nye out of Brevard County. He's been leading for just shy of a decade now. And we've had a lot of great people who have gotten into office and have built up across the country. From Minnesota State Representative Jeremy Munson to just now Florida State Representative Bernie Jacques,
Yes.
to a multitude of other elected personnel, whether it's in the state Republican Party, state house, and etc. And one quick example of talking about what a powerhouse can be is the RLC of Manatee County is now a dominating force in Manatee, where they have 2 of the 5 school board members and 4 of the 7 county commissioners are RLC members. So literally they dominate the county commission, and God knows I can only see what they're going to do in a couple years from now. But the caucus was set up to bring back liberty and constitutional roots at the grassroots level. So where you have a lot of these organizations, could be you have some political line that are 501c3 and 501c4. Well, the RLC was set up like some others as a 527 grassroots. So similar to nonprofit, but political based and work from the grassroots on up. Local chapters, state chapters, regional chapters, national chapters, and it balloons from there. We've had some great highlights in our past, whether it was during the Tea Party movement or these last 6 years, whether it was after the 2016 election and the 2018 election, people pulling away from the Republican Party in terms of the leadership, the infrastructure, but still wanting to push constitutional liberty roots. And we've had Republican clubs that have unassociated themselves and become RLC chapters to continue the fight in the movement. And that's what's led to Florida being the largest of the state chapters across the country, with about over 30 counties in Florida representing in the RLC, from Escambia County in Pensacola all the way to the Florida Keys. There's not a single state that comes close to dominating in the liberty movement than the Florida Republican Liberty Caucus. And what makes us different? Like I said, we're grassroots. You have Republican clubs, which I say to everybody to join and be part of. But what the caucus does is grassroots action, activism, and push and success. We get involved, and we'll talk about the things in the party politics if need be. We endorse in the primaries. We lobby and advocate with our local government all the way on up. The chapter can be involved at every single city council meeting. It can be involved in every county commission meeting. You know, I've seen constant videos of Colonel Wright and others at Manatee going to their county commission or their school board. Some chapters, like my buddy Lance over here, who used to be a member of the Lee County chapter, they go to the school board all the time. But we go all the way up. Every year we have our lobby days where we get involved and we meet with our legislators and tell them what bills are constitutional, what bills are not constitutional, what bills don't go far enough. That should be even more. And we get involved and active with this, which has led to the successes that we've had. We have literally killed bills because of our action and our support. Very quickly to mention, in front of you guys, you probably see these postcards. This started a couple of years ago when the Senate President, a Republican from Manatee County, sorry, Colonel, and a state senator that represented Pasco and Hillsborough County were pushing a gun control bill. And we weren't a fan of that, and so the RLC got involved and started setting up gun rights forums all across the state, constitutional movements, constitutional meetings, and these palm cards that people, all you had to do was sign and put a stamp on. That was all you had to do. Go ahead, go ahead. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it very much. Was that really that bad? So all you had to do is sign in the yellow line and put a stamp and send them in. And it got to the point that the state senator who was pushing the bill, when they knew we were coming for our lobby days, made sure to have a meeting with our leadership because they had already received 2,000 of these, the one senator alone. And the way I've learned from a couple of state reps is that the biggest problem they have is Republicans and constitutionalists don't get involved and don't reach out to their legislature. They say that for every one person that emails them, calls them, writes a letter about a specific bill, there's 100 people who feel the exact same who have not reached out. So you can literally lead a force with 50 people, and that accounts to 5,000 votes in the minds of those legislators. With even more people, even more voters. And so like we're continuing this effort right now. These postcards are now being sent to the Speaker. They say designate, they're a little outdated now, but the Speaker and the Senate President of the Florida Legislature to let them know we want full constitutional carry.
Absolutely.
We want full Second Amendment rights. We want our Constitution to not be infringed, shall not be infringed, as the saying goes. And we're sending these up. All you have to do is sign in the yellow and put a stamp on it, and they will be and mail them out. And it will lead to the success, to the point that bills get killed, because that's the thing, is that we've led a force and success that has led to these efforts. Okay. The last part I'm going to get in, and like I mentioned, is our lobby days, is that we go up. Our dates this year will be March 14th and 15th. And what we do is we go up there for 2 days, and we have our members beforehand set up meetings with their state rep and their state senator, if you can, on behalf of the RLC. And when you're a constituent, they're more likely to set up the meeting. And we have multiple people that will go in there and speak to them professionally, politely, but firmly, and let them know these are the bills that are constitutional that we want to see passed, and these are the bills that are unconstitutional, and we don't want to see them passed. Those meetings and these palm cards is what led to that gun control bill being killed in the very first committee. It didn't make it past that. And that's the kind of success we have. This last year we had 80 members from all across the state come and meet. Not everybody can make the drive up to Tallahassee. So with 800 members at the time, we had 1 in 10 members from across the state, and we're constantly growing. We want more people to get involved. We want more people to reach out. But not just at the state level. Be involved with your county commission. Sorry, Josh. Deal with the headaches if need be. You want to keep them, Josh is a great guy, but you want to keep your elected officials in check. Because what if he goes off the path? I doubt he will, but let's just say, you want every level, if they are an elected position, I don't care if it's soil and water conservation, there's taxes of yours that go to this. And this is what we need to be doing. So to sum it up quickly with that is, the RLC has become a force, has become an action. A lot of people say that, but we've proven it. We've gotten bills killed, and we've gotten bills passed. We've had our own bills that have been put in by legislators that want to see it go through. And we score our legislators, we give them grades, and we let people know whether or not they're worthy of being endorsed. And we want the best people. Just because you have an R at the end of your name doesn't mean you're the best candidate. That's why we endorse. We had 120 people reach out to us for endorsements here in the state of Florida during the 22 election. 80 of them had interviews, and only about 40 to 50, actually, if that, received endorsements. We're picky about who we pick, who we support, and who we want to see in office. It's not just what you say, it's if you have a track record, have you proven it? And if you don't, do we believe you will prove it? And that's what Hillsborough can do. That's what Hillsborough's been doing. They endorse great candidates and great leaders. And I can only imagine what you guys will be doing 2 years from now, this year with the 23 elections, and next year with the 24 elections. So I want to say thank you for the time, and keep it up and keep growing, and make liberty ring here in Hillsborough County.
Okay. All right, that being said, one other thing coming up this week, when it got rescheduled, was supposed to be on the 3rd of January, was the Hillsborough delegation meeting, which is when citizens get to get up and talk to the legislators of Hillsborough County, bring up their issues and concerns. That'll now be tomorrow on the 1st of February. One of our own in the RLC and also a Republican Executive Committee member of ours, Mike Cartwright, is going to speak tomorrow. He's going to talk about the infringement of having the U.S. Capitol Police here in Tampa, which is, all of us patriots know, is a violation of the Constitution. There's also a bill put forward by Bernie Johnson, if you saw that, the Federal Accountability Act, where he is trying to push for transparency, where groups such as the USCP are not subject to FOIA requests. They're in the legislative branch since 1828, the Capitol Police. So therefore, they're not under the control of the executive, only on the legislative, and do not respond to normal federal law enforcement FOIA requests and open about their operations. So tomorrow, Mike's going to speak about that. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be, I think, at USF is where they're doing this tomorrow. I don't know anybody else in this room who's scheduled to speak. That's interesting. I thought you would be going there tomorrow, the delegation meeting. We need you. You're a voice, a great voice of ours. But it's too late now to sign up, but we need people to go there tomorrow if you have the time, USF, and listen to what the legislators also have to say, because that's our chance to hear what they have to say and what we're going to tell them. Additionally, I don't know if a lot of us saw that there's House Bill 543, which is this permitless carry bill. We don't support that right now. It's going to go, I think, into committee on the 7th of March. They have a hearing in the afternoon, I think from 4 to 6. It should be publicized. You should be able to see that online. I watched the one on election integrity last week. Basically, the legislator sat there, No one asked any questions. No one said, well, what about Eric? Or what about phantom voters? All the things that we have found out in our canvassing with Defend Florida and other grassroots groups. And we strongly believe in strong election integrity laws. One that has to be amended, and that vote by mail is critical to be fixed, along with getting out of that corrupt voter registration system, voter maintenance system, ERIC, which nothing more than facilitates the phantom voters. So we have people in this room here, great representatives, our County Commissioner Josh Wostal. So he knows when RSOE comes up and says they want these voting machines, these things, to say, wait a second, we don't need those. We can go back for ballots and do this the right way where we can have integrity and know that our votes are being counted. So there's a lot of good issues out there we never get involved with. The RLC is spearheading a lot of this, other grassroots, and of course our great rec is also involved in this too. So I encourage everyone in this room, join the RLC, join your rec, be involved, your freedom's at stake, do the best we can. Thank you so much.
So next in our program, we're going to pull up our many speakers. I'm very excited about that. And the masters of the speakers segment is going to be Matt Legge over here. So warm welcome, Matt Legge.
All right, so this next segment of our event here, we're going to have some of our past endorsees come up and talk to us a little bit. So for this segment, just so you all know, each of these individuals will have 10 minutes to speak. Included in that, there'll be the ability to ask 5 questions. So we ask that, one, you give them the respect, let them speak. If you have questions, that's fine as well. At the end, there will also be a, what's it called? Free what? Open forum. Yeah, that thing. An open forum where everyone will have an opportunity to ask anybody that's come up here to speak any kind of questions that they want to. So just keep that in mind. So the first past endorsee that we're going to have up here to speak. And let me just mention, one of our previous endorsees wasn't able to make it tonight. Commissioner Donna Cepeda, who is the Hillsborough County Commission District 5 countywide commissioner. She wanted to be here. Unfortunately, she had a previous engagement, so she wasn't able to come. All right, so our first speaker is going to be our Hillsborough County Commissioner for District 7, Commissioner Joshua Wostal.
Good evening. First, thank you to everybody in the room that supported me. There's a lot of people in here that did a lot of work for me, and that's not forgotten. I can tell you that one thing that I heard on the trail that's definitely come true, and that was actually from Commissioner Myers at a Teen and Conversation meeting. She said, the first time I ran, the one thing you didn't tell me was all of the meetings, and boy was that an understatement. We had a lot of meetings. My meetings this morning started at 6:30 a.m. in fact, and then like a United Way thing at 7:30, and then a briefing from the county attorney for tomorrow's meeting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's never ending. It's death by paperwork, and you know, a good thing is that, well, a bad thing for me is that I read absolutely everything that comes across my desk, but a good thing for you is that I read absolutely everything that comes across my desk. I can tell you that already some not appreciate that I read absolutely everything that comes across my desk. I can tell you that over a dozen times I've already heard, oh, you know, you might be the first commissioner that's ever asked that. And a lot of it is what I thought. It's going to take you know, when soil gets really packed, you know, it takes you a couple more times going over it to really dig into it and see what's going on, and it's going to be it's going to take me a couple tries of the shovel to get to what I'm looking for, but it's there and it's slowly coming to light. I have a couple of big asks that are coming out from county staff. They're going to cover things like a full report of all of the historical financial impact. Well, we're going to just do 10 years at first and see what I find of something called nonprofit spending. And specifically, since I've been in office, unfortunately, the county has now spent, I would say, a little over $11 million of general fund budget on things that could have been spent to the critical infrastructure that the taxpayers said you must fix with your current budget, and we told you no to 2 votes. You must fix it with your budget, but still so far I've been unable to stop that $11 million of spending. A lot of it is because it's pre-committed from the budget that gets decided in July of 2023. I 100% legally could have stopped it if I had the votes, but you know, another thing about the commission is that you're regulated under sunshine. In fact, it's probably best that Donna is not here tonight because so much is regulated under sunshine. So I will tell you that report alone is going to uncover that we just got passed through under the nonprofit spending. We passed through $200,000 to an LLC called University, oh hi Dana, I didn't see you back there too, University Area CDC. I'm not saying they're a bad organization, I'm not saying they're a good organization, but as we know in this room, a lot of these things come gift wrapped in a really nice sounding package. So I looked into that, and that organization has actually been getting your tax dollars for free since the past 20 years.
Wow.
That's actually an original Victor Crist item. Who's a Republican, I'll remind you. It's guilty on both sides of that. So when we say, why can't we afford to fix critical infrastructure, I say, well, maybe it's because of these compounding issues of decades long of frivolous spending on voluntary organizations that have now become essentially an extension of the government. I'm talking about on a lot of these nonprofits that make you feel really good, we're basically like 95% of their budget because we have no criteria in place to manage how that beast grows. There's a lot of other things that are going to come up, like unallocated spending, not to reveal too much, right, because this is this is playing chess, and make no mistake, this is a constant game of chess. This is not like the state's legislatures that only legislate during session. I legislate every 2 weeks at Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. It's a full-time legislation. And there's always a game of chess of moving those pieces around. And a lot of it has to do, a lot of the meetings are people that want your money. And they are very accustomed to those handouts. And make no mistake, they are nothing more, a lot of times, than handouts. Who's ever heard of Feeding Tampa Bay? Oh man, doesn't that feel good? $5 million to build their new headquarters that just broke ground this morning. Whoa. Out of the federally printed ARP money. Right. Now who's so excited about them, right? I guess that's the point that I talked about a lot during my campaign is where is the money? And I'm going to stay true to that. I'm going to make some people unhappy on our own side. I'm going to make some people unhappy on the other side. I have an inability to whip votes, unlike the state's legislature, who can go and talk about amongst themselves. I can't go and whip votes to my other county commissioners, and that's where people coming up
and getting actively engaged and making sure that the county commissioners are accountable to what the taxpayers mandated upon them, which is that we told you no to 2 new taxes. You must fix it with your current budget. Why are you continuing to spend my money on voluntary things rather than critical infrastructure? And that's where you have to win. Tomorrow, say goodbye, and I don't know that this is good or if this is bad, but say goodbye to pet bunnies. Because activists who flood our emails, they are so organized, but they are about to further exacerbate your county resources, and a lot of these people are not even from Hillsborough County. They are not, which I'm working on a policy on how to regulate that, but you can't restrict someone's free speech, but I've got something for them. But they also come in and they tank the 45 minutes of speaking at the start of the meeting, to where even almost Dr. Davison, who has been fighting for transportation, meaningful transportation in this county, for 25 years that man has been living, eating, and sleeping and bleeding county center trying to fix real problems here. He barely cut the wire because of these rabbit activists. They circumvent your local government from being able to hear your real concerns, because they're the ones that are actively engaged on what's passionate to them. And guess what? The other county commissioners, bless their hearts, they cave to that pressure. And they vote yes, even if it goes against their principles, because they're just tired of hearing it. They want to move on. And that's unfortunate, but that's the truth. So if you really want to win on these things, get down there and you get active. And I don't care, you can put this video on social media, and it's going to upset my other county commissioners a lot for me doing that. But that's just what has to get done. That's what has to get done, because I can't do it. It's unfortunately for you, I am morally and ethically principled even when your back is turned. So I won't go play games to whip those county commissioners' votes, because the state said that it's illegal for me to do so. Other games might be played. If you didn't know, Hillsborough County has a vast record of county commissioners getting arrested, all the way back to the 80s. It's not what I'm going to do. But I will always do the hard thing for you, the right thing for you. I will not compromise my principles, no matter who's screaming in my face, the minority few up there. So if you don't want these things to continue to happen, you got to get down there. You got to tell them to stop spending money where it doesn't belong. That why don't you have a plan? We told you no to more money. Why don't you have a plan? Why was your only plan so far of how you would like to spend the unconstitutionally taxed dollars that the court said you aren't supposed to have an opinion on? And the state's legislature, who now has the money, didn't ask for your opinion. Well, we had a plan for how we were going to spend your unconstitutionally taxed dollars, but we don't have a plan of how we're going to spend your normally taxed dollars. It's a problem. It's a problem. So I'd love to come in here and give you the fairy tale, yeah, we did it, but we didn't do it. We broke one plateau, and now there's a lot of work to be done. So on my first day, because there's tons of other state statute requirements for county commissioners that's sitting on other things that we're financially responsible to represent you on, like HART, that you're taxed almost $100 million a year through your property taxes. I think about how much they get, don't misquote me, think about that. On my very first day, before I knew anything, I had to address the fact that your CEO of HART, that now makes like $300,000 a year, she's brand newish, 2 years, had hired one of her friends to be her number 2 in command, who never reported a single day basically to your county tax funded organization who never lived here, who ran a full-time job in Louisiana with a different area regional transport, making another $140,000 some odd dollars, grifting money off of you. That's the first thing we had to handle, is how are we going to address firing or not firing or suspending this? And I'm not just fighting with other commissioners at this point, I'm fighting the mayor of Tampa because she has an agenda. Those are fun meetings to watch. I'll send you some clips. I think she's going to stop challenging me publicly. She learned her lesson the second time. But all of these things, though, you know, I have no problems being collegial. I actually respect Harry Cohen and Gwen Myers a lot. They're good, decent people that are doing their best. But all of this other behind-the-scenes navigating that the mayor of Tampa does, these are the things that grift your tax dollars, right? And then instead of accepting responsibility for her hire, even though she had literally just had to fire her police chief the very same morning, you can't even make up this level of irony, folks. She refused to suspend the CEO of Hart because she didn't want another L on her plate. It wasn't about representing her constituents and your tax dollars to the best of her ability. It's that she just didn't want to look worse from having to, and that is the worst type of politician, folks. The worst. So that's what you're dealing with in Hillsborough County. It's tons of money, and we need to get more involved. I'm still working through the rigmarole of land use and rezoning, which is a whole nother bear. But if you want to get involved and really get organized on how do we make them refocus, we get down there and we get loud. That's how we do it. Thank you so much for all of your support, for giving me a moment of your time. Do we want to say, I can try and stay till the end. I do have a regularly scheduled board meeting, though, tomorrow morning.
We have questions now.
Okay. Okay. So I'm more than happy to take a few questions. With that being said, if it is about rezoning and you have a filed application, I can't because that is a violation of law, so don't ask me.
Go ahead.
Congratulations, Josh. Thanks for coming. Please, can you help tell us how the Hillsborough County Commission can help us to have the Capitol Police removed from Hillsborough County, and in fact the state of Florida? If not you guys' initiative, what else can we do to help you do that? Yeah, we have absolutely. The county commissioners, even though we have some dotted lines, your other constitutionals are only dotted lines to us for a means of pass-through of revenue. It's illegal for us to get involved with their functions or try and circumvent their roles. So that has unfortunately nothing to do with My apologies,
the county.
I should have finished with the part of your budget for the sheriff's office. Is there any way you can affect the sheriff's office budget or somehow influence having the Capitol Police removed from the sheriff's office property?
No, again, so like is it Pinellas, or I think it's Pinellas, the tax collector actually, it's another constitutional, and the sheriff had done the same thing. They didn't properly fund her. There's basically calculations that they do. There's some things yes and no, kind of, but effectively, if you don't fund them, then they can sue. They can sue you, actually, and she had to do that because they wouldn't properly fund her. So there's lots of dotted lines there. All of that is state statute control. We're preempted for good reasons. Actually, you don't want some county commissioners being able to strong arm other constitutionals, which were also elected to represent you in their own functions. So there's preemptions there for that reason. I know you're passionate about that, but I'm not your answer, unfortunately.
So I understand that they've decided what they're going to do with our $500 million.
Yeah, that's actually not. Okay, so I read the.
How does that? How can they do that? I guess is my question. What can we do about it?
I read the Tampa Bay Times article, and maybe they left out a few key words. I want to be very transparent about this. The county commissioners have absolutely zero to do with that money. Nothing. Okay, I read the article. I know they quoted me some in there, which is that even if I was picking, $66 million for trails would be an immediate no, which some other commissioners read, obviously, and jumped on that, which I appreciate their support because we have critical infrastructure needs. But that was more hyperbole, like as if I was picking. The part that they didn't include in there is that Supreme Court said it was unconstitutionally taxed. The court said, okay, none of your resolutions resolve it, so we don't know what to do. So then the state said, okay, it's like your parent coming in. We took this from you. Now it's theirs, completely theirs. They have not asked for our opinion. I don't think that they want our opinion because it's this area that allowed it to be unconstitutionally taxed. Whoever's wrong in that, we can point fingers. So for them, and I'm going to be abstaining from the vote on the 15th. It's only legal as an elected official to abstain from a vote in the state of Florida if you have a very clear conflict of interest and you must write down on a piece of paper and file it. And mine is going to be on the grounds that the money was unconstitutionally taxed. I am a constitutionally oathed officer of that same area and money, so it seems like I would be violating my oath of office to start offering my unsolicited opinion on that unconstitutionally taxed money. So frankly, it's your state legislatures who are going to be 100% in control. They don't know what the leftover money is going to be. Yes, they said $562 million, but that's how people live with money. There's going to be attorneys' fees. There's going to be clear-ups of function in the state. There's going to be a wash of some of the money, right? You're going to get left with a lower number than 562 million. So we could say all of these things, and then the state can be like, cool, thanks for your opinion, and by the way, you don't have anywhere near that much money, and none of that is going to be funded, and by the way, we don't like your priorities, so we're gonna, right, so that's it, yeah. And that's your newly appointed County Internal Audit Committee selectee right there, by the way, Gina. That's actually a really sought after one of the most applications.
Is there any possibility, and maybe it's already happened, of firing the county administrator and reducing their salary? I think they're paid over $300,000 a year, which is not equivalent to the commercial side of things.
I frankly think that she just got an extension, and which was done sometime last year, and that's a whole different. I'll talk to you about that sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one question. You want us to do what exactly? Come to the Bach meetings down there? Is it
So
email, letter writing campaigns? What?
all of the above.
Okay. All right.
All of the above. It's a process, and if it's that we are focused on reprioritizing our money,
Yeah.
then we need to focus. If we want to avoid them continuing to ask for new taxes, we need to say, where is your plan in reprioritizing, like we as voters told you to do twice in the November election and August election. We told you no for more money, so you need to now give us your plan on how you're going to reduce your operating costs to fund this critical adventure. And I'll talk more to
Okay.
the REC on
Yeah, that'd be good. Absolutely.
effectively.
All right, last one, Lily.
Would it be helpful if we assigned somebody to come to those meetings that you regularly have to push out the bunnies and to talk about more constitutional issues? Just schedule somebody to always go to those meetings?
But essentially more than one.
Yes.
Essentially more.
So there needs to be more of us
Yes.
than there is of the 2% loud people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the ones that take up the entirety of the speaking process in the beginning of the meeting.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next previous endorsee.
Quick order of business.
time out.
Josh just said that he has to leave early, and so we have to give this to him before he leaves. So. I got it. Okay, great. Explain what it is. This is an acknowledgement that Josh has done a wonderful job and we endorsed him, and he can put it someplace to look at it and be happy and remember that.
Put it on my I love me wall.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
Thank
there
you.
go.
All right, thank you, everybody. All right, so next, our next previous endorsee, again, we'll have a chance for 5 questions at the end. After 5 questions, you guys want to go in the open forum and ask more questions, we're more than happy to take those. But our next endorsee, the voice of the streets, the voice of the streets, former Hillsborough County Commission candidate, Scott Levinson.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for inviting me here. I can't lie to you, it's been sort of nice taking a breath. You know, it was a long road, started how long ago did I start? 3.5 years. But the truth is, this started 30 years ago. And I started doing exactly what Josh talked about, showing up to every, and when I tell you every, I would go to every Wednesday meeting, because I decided many years ago that there were a lot of people in this county that didn't have a voice. And that's where that tag, Voice of the Streets, came from. As all of you know my story, I wasn't born a poor child. I don't believe anyone's privileged, because I believe we all work and do what we do and work hard for what we have. But I was raised in South Tampa. I went to private school. I was fortunate to go to college, went to Tulane University, and came back here. But I learned from my parents long ago that there are those out there that don't have some advantages, and they need a voice too. And that's what got me started on that path. 30 years working with the kids, their families, and youth sports and education. And that's what propelled me to get involved in politics. To me, it wasn't politics. Today, to me, it's still not politics. What it is to me is right and wrong. People talk about compromise. They talk about working and getting along with others. And I'm a firm believer in that. One thing I do not believe in, I never will believe in it, is I will not compromise my values, and I will not compromise my beliefs. I, unlike Josh, who won his commission seat, I did not. But the fact is, we don't need a title to make a difference, as Josh just said. We can go down there and our voices be heard. We can all have something that we feel is near and dear, that we want to represent and get out there and stand up for. And I believe every one of us can do that. People come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you lost." I didn't lose. We won this battle. I've stood up, and many of you have heard me speak, and I meant it then and I mean it now. This was never about me winning a race. This was never about me having a title. This was about somebody paving the way 3.5 years ago, standing up for once in front of this county and saying, "I don't care how it's been done. I don't care what you've done. We are going to do and speak and fight for what is right." And that is what we have done. And I remember my first conversation with your newly elected Commissioner Josh. We were at a meeting, and he came up to me and introduced himself, and he said, I'm so-and-so and I am running for commission in District 7. I said, countywide. I said, that's a big task your first time around. I said, have you really thought about that? I said, have you thought about that? And I said, have you thought about running in your district? And maybe starting off in district and going from there. He told me, and this was before they did the redistricting. So he looked at me and he said, yeah, I did think about running in district, but I really don't want a primary who's running in that district. And I said, well, that, you know, if I would have had that attitude the first time, we wouldn't have got as close as we did. And sometimes you got to go for that. And then I looked at him and I said, Josh, what district are you living in right now? He says, District 1. I said, countywide's great for you. That was, I guess, at the Patriot made that night on 50. I told him that's a great idea. I'm behind you in District 7. But look at it now. He's commissioner. I'm not. So he did a great job. I think we all did a great job. And I think we're going to continue to do a great job. Yeah, I didn't win. I don't have a title. But that doesn't mean you quit. So many candidates that don't win disappear. Look around this room at the candidates, so many. Aly, who fought a great race, she's still here. She's not hiding. I'm still here. I'm not hiding. And you know why? And I hate to put it this way, and excuse my language, because we don't give a damn. We're going to keep fighting the fight that we believe in. And nobody's going to stop us because we don't give a damn. It's real simple. And we're going to keep that up. The reason I'm standing up here today is because of that woman right there. It's because of the fight that she had and instilled in me, because I would have backed out. But the fight she had kept me in it. She's the reason I was here. And we all look for answers. And you might not find them, but don't give up the fight. I am honored right now. What are my plans for the future? I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm going to stay involved. I know I might not run for office. I might run for office. Right now I'm back in running my food business, having a great time. I'm back in the gym, trying to lose some weight, 48 pounds, 50 pounds down. My wife is not so happy that I'm home so much. Obviously, her boyfriend was more important to her. But there are things, and another thing I would like to thank Josh for, because after the election, I got a text from Josh, and because it was a text, he couldn't tell. But I got a text from him, and it was a simple few words. It says, would you consider being my appointee on the Hillsborough County Parks, Recreation, and Conservation Board? He didn't see me doing the happy dance. But he knows that's what's near and dear to me. And he knows that's what I've been fighting for 30 years. So I decided I'm going to play coy. I'm not going to answer him right away. So I waited 12 seconds. Was it 12 or was it quicker? Might have been a little quicker. And I text back to him, absolutely. And that's what I mean by there's always a reason. There's always a way that we can do what we do. Thank God he appointed me to that, and that's what it means so much to me, because I'm back working, hopefully helping kids and families again, and doing the job, bringing attention of issues to Josh, and fighting a fight that way. Folks, during the campaign, if you noticed, I didn't hunt a lot of endorsements. Because I believe the only endorsements that really counted are the ones that people feel you deserve. The biggest endorsement I received was your vote. To me, there is no endorsement bigger than that. But the endorsement that this group gave me meant a lot to me. And if you go back and you really look at my post and on the campaign, I didn't post a lot of endorsements I got. This one I did. Because this was an endorsement that I firmly believe we earned by the actions that we exhibited out on the trail. That we weren't willing to compromise the Constitution. That we weren't willing to compromise our values. And when I don't even, it was, I think Mike called me. And he said, I want to congratulate you on the endorsement. I didn't even know at that point. And I said, but when he told me and I found out, it meant a lot to me. Because it wasn't something that we went and had to sit in front and basically sit down in front of the police or the firemen or the builders or the realtors, where you had to make promises and you had to make deals. Some people with the values, and we have a few commissioners I got on that board, they didn't have to make deals. Their performance got those endorsements, but I wasn't willing to break, I wasn't willing to bend. And when it all comes down to it, what the future holds for me, I don't know. I know I will be next to every one of you, as I've said in meeting after meeting. I don't want anyone standing behind me or in front of me. I believe we all need to stand shoulder to shoulder and fight the fight. And by no means I never want to look in the mirror and say, I wish I would not have compromised that. Stand on our values, stand on our beliefs, and keep fighting forward. There's a lot of work to do. And I want to thank you all for the support you gave me, and we'll see what the future holds.
All right, anybody have any questions? Going once, going twice, there we go.
I want to ask a little bit more about that appointment. What do you have to do for that appointment? And can we help in any way?
I have to serve Josh lunch twice a week. I pressure washed his driveway.
It's a weight loss program.
He's right. There you go. No, what it is, the Parks Rec Conservation Board covers Hillsborough County Parks. It covers all youth activities. It covers ELAP, which Josh didn't get to talk about. That is another thing which I am sure he will continue to dig into, and I'm looking forward to helping him. Our county wastes a lot of money. They buy a lot of property and they do nothing to keep it up or keep on top of it. So it's an oversight board, but the problem, which Josh found out when he looked at that board, is you have members on that board that have been on it for 20 years. 20 years. As my job the last 6 years, I had to go to every one of those meetings. Not one time did that board ever ask a question about money. Not one time did they ever push back to anything Parks and Rec or ELAP brought to them. Not one time. In fact, if you look at the minutes, over and over, it was said, well, we don't really have any authority. The commissioners vote, so what's the use of us even getting involved? Wow. That's not me. I'm sure Josh is going to get calls. Your representative is asking a lot of questions. And your representative is not being a go-along to get along. So my apologies, Josh. If I rock the boat down there, I'm sorry if you get the phone calls. I'll pressure wash the gutters.
We'll be waves ahead, buddy.
So, but that's basically what it is, and I'm very excited about it.
All right, anybody else?
No? All right. Thank you all.
All right. And last but not least, I know you guys know I'm not that familiar with her. But no. So really, last but not least, though, for the previous endorsees is my favorite mama bear and the love of my life, Aly Legge.
All right, y'all. Give RLC a nice big round of applause. And Scott, who is like a brother from another mother. And to our commissioner, Josh Wostal. You guys helped us out a lot, and I'm very thankful that he's actually on our county commission. So thank you so much. I want to give you all a very warm thank you for your help with our campaign and for your endorsement. I absolutely love the RLC and why the RLC has been created. We do have, our Republican Party has fallen by the wayside a little bit, just a little bit. But we need more people to stand up, to rock the boat. We need more people to be active and to be involved. This isn't just about candidates. Candidates can't do it all. Our elected representatives can't do it all. You have to show up. You can't just come to meetings and talk and complain about all of the issues and not get out and put boots on the ground and go speak your truth. Because then who else can you blame? It's up to us, we the people, right? If you stand and you pledge your allegiance to that flag, you're pledging your allegiance that you are going to commit to action. It's not just about being a mouthpiece. You have to put your feet to the ground and get moving and do something. And that is why I got involved, right? I've been involved politically for quite a while. I got involved because our government was overreaching with medical, religious freedom. And they were trying to direct how parents conducted medical situations with their children. And that is why I originally got involved. And I just kept getting this nag, like, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And so I had to do something. I had to get involved because, again, if it's we the people, not our elected representatives. We hire them. Essentially, it's a job interview the entire time you're running for office. It is a giant job interview. And you have to make sure that you are doing the best you can to represent the people, not tell them what you think is best for them. We have way too many people in office that are doing that right now. So our school board is a mess. We all know that. Unfortunately, I did not win that seat, but we did win. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is a first-time candidate. We received 80,000 votes out the door. We won day of voting, and we won in-person voting. So in person and it's day of, right?
So early voting.
Early voting, that's what it was. Early voting and in-person day of voting. So we kicked her butt doing all that. Yeah. The only thing I would say as a caveat to that is we need to be able to reach more independent. We can't stay inside our Republican box. We need to reach more independent people because people see that Republican name, and because we've been trashed through the media, right? We need to make sure that we're being open and having these difficult conversations in a polite way, right? Not bashing them, not name calling, because that doesn't get us anywhere. And it's not about compromise, it's about stating what your morals and values are, because our principles are non-negotiable in America. They're non-negotiable. They're morals and values that we should all live by, that make us who we are. And we have to make sure that we're conveying that to the people we're talking with. And I was in a lot of very uncomfortable rooms as a Latina, Black, mixed woman as a Republican. And they all knew I was a Republican. So one thing that I was not prepared for were all of the ugly, nasty names I was called. Just because I didn't want our children to be sexually, oh my goodness, this is hard to talk about. Sexually exploited, because that is what's happening. Because I didn't want our children to be manipulated, right? I wanted parents to have more say in what was going on with their children while they were at school. Just because of that, I was called all kinds of awful names. And Uncle Tom, white supremacists and blackface. You name it. You name it, I was called it. But you know what? Adversity is how you become stronger. And I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for my faith and for the support of all of you, and knowing that we can truly make a difference if we all stick together and stick to our morals and values and our principles and never compromise on those, because that's what makes America great, right? I did have a lot of fun running. It was stressful, but it was fun. My kids, not so much. My husband, maybe not. He ended up being a little bit more involved than I think he would like to be. But no, it was fun. It really was. It was fun. We had a really good time. I got to meet a lot of great people, and we did a lot of great things. I kind of spearheaded something that has never been seen in American politics. Can you guys guess what that is? No, really? I was the first school board candidate ever in the history of American politics to be endorsed by the head of state. So our governor endorsed my race. And then that snowballed into endorsing all of the other school board candidates. And that is something that he's looking at doing. Well, he's not looking at, he's doing that in 24. But he's not stopping at school board. He's also going to endorse superintendents that are elected in other counties. Unfortunately, here in Hillsborough County, our superintendent is hired, which is kind of a good thing because we can get rid of him, providing we get majority on the board, right? So the thing that makes it really interesting about a board is that you're kind of stuck. So if you don't have majority on the board, you're kind of stuck with who is the majority. And right now, our majority is very far left-leaning. And they are mixed in. They don't know what they're doing up there. They really don't. They're not constitutionally principled. It's not functional. And we can tell that by our schools, right? Our children are suffering. Our schools are suffering. Our kids can't read. They can't write, but they're all graduating, which, how are they graduating? I don't understand. It's like 85% of them can graduate, but 40% of them can't read. 40% of them can read. 40% can read, but 85% are graduating. Make that make sense. It's crazy. But next cycle, we have 4 seats that are up. 1, 3, 5, and 7. And every single one of you need to be involved in getting those candidates elected to those seats, because we cannot change what needs to be changed in Hillsborough County Schools if we do not get a majority on that board. Stacy and Patty need some serious help up there. Yep. I don't know if you guys have seen Patty lately. My heart breaks. That girl looks so stressed out. She looks so stressed out, and I call her, we talk all the time. I'm still very connected with our school board. I'm still very connected with our legislators that will speak to me. But they all know me up there. I'm very connected with our county commissioners. They all know me up there, so I'm really excited to see what we have coming up. What I've been doing over the last several months is I officially work for Moms for America. It's a national organization, parent-led organization. I run their Empower Moms department, and we have about 6 or 7 initiatives. Empower Moms is literally just exactly what it sounds like, and we empower moms to take action from the kitchen table all the way to Congress. So if you're trying to homeschool your kids and don't have the resources, I can give you those. If you are trying to figure out how to parent your child effectively, I can give you those resources. If you're trying to figure out how your county commission's new laws or new codes and regulations are affecting you, I can set you up with somebody to figure that out. So that's Empower Moms. We also are doing a homeschool mom-to-mom webinar every month where we have a veteran mom. She has been homeschooling for 40 years, all of her children. I believe she had 8 kids. And she gets up there and she talks about curriculum and how-tos, and we try to bring moms that are thinking about homeschooling, that have been homeschooling, that are struggling with curriculum, anything like that. We do that once a month. We also have Liberty Kids Club, which is really awesome because, we're raising patriots, you guys.
I like it.
Love it.
Love it.
Liberty Kids Club is really cool. It involves the kids and the family. We will be launching our Liberty Trips, which is you take your family to all of the national monuments and wonderful things that we have around America. And you get to take pictures, and there's going to be like a little game and contests and stuff. It's going to be really, really cool. We're going to do constitutional thing. It's awesome. It's really awesome. But I'm actually teaching a class It's called Cottage Meetings for Kids. Now, the original Cottage Meetings was for adults, moms, that wanted to learn the foundational principles that make America so amazing. And it's been so phenomenal. We have thousands of moms across the nation that join these cottage meetings, and they learn so much. They learn the principles of America, and they're able to go to school board meetings and speak effectively. They're able to make the proper changes that they need to make in their counties by understanding the principles and speaking to them effectively, making change, right? And this is amazing because now we're teaching kids to do it. We're teaching them the principles of faith, family, and freedom. And that starts February 11th. And I'm really excited. We already have 75 families. Okay, that's not individual kids, it's families. 75 families signed up already. So I'm really excited to teach that class. I've developed the curriculum, I've broken it down, and it's been really difficult to do, but it's fun. Because trying to break down these abstract principles down to a kid's level is very difficult, but I think we got it. What is the other initiative we have? What's the other one? Oh, and Family Lobby. It's like Citizen Lobby. I talked to him because he's in my house. He knows what I'm doing. Citizen Lobby, which I think is really needed, especially listening to a lot of the conversation that we had here. Too many Americans don't understand the proper roles and relationships and responsibilities that our elected representatives have. I know, for example, I'm working with Moms for Liberty here in Hillsborough County, trying to get our school board and our legislature and our Board of Education to kind of mesh and actually do what they're supposed to do collectively for the people. But there's too much of, well, we need to reach out to this person. Well, we can't, as citizens that deal with the school board, reach out to state legislators because it affects them, but they can't do anything about local stuff. Right. They just pass the law. That's all they're responsible for. Our Board of Education is supposed to create policy out of the laws that are passed, and the school board is supposed to codify the law through the policies that are passed by the Board of Education. Not everybody knows that. So in order for us to be effective citizens, right, and actually create the change that we want to see, we need to know what the roles and responsibilities are of the people we hire to serve us. Otherwise, you're just hiring somebody to do a job you know absolutely nothing about. How is that working in the business world? It doesn't. They run our country like a business, so we need to be, as the people, business-minded. And in order for us to do that, we need to learn the basics of what that is. And that's something that I created. It's still kind of in the process of getting done, but we're doing that. And I'm also going to be hosting a podcast with my husband called Parents Corner, where we talk about daily hot topics and how that could affect you as a parent. So those are just some initiatives that I've been working on. I am traveling nationwide. I have a legislative committee in Texas. We're working on getting parental rights done in Texas, school choice, a very robust school choice legislation passed in Texas, and we're going to use Texas as a template and spread it out across the nation. So my hands are full, y'all. I'm busy. So if you haven't seen me on Facebook, that's why. And I got 5 kids, so give me a break.
6.
But yeah, but thank you so very much for all of your help and your assistance. It really does mean a lot to me. This isn't something that I woke up one day and was like, hey, I want to run for office and get a title. I don't even want to do this, y'all. But I'm doing it because I have to. Somebody's got to stand up, and somebody needs to pave the way, because courage is contagious. And we need y'all to be courageous. We need you to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's how change happens. So thank you all so much. Yes, Mike?
What's the next elected office you're going to run from? Many pictures as I saw there at Mar-a-Lago. You must have got a lot of FaceTime with President Trump.
Maybe.
Exchanging crime scene tape or and also President and the Governor DeSantis. Are they encourage you to run for the office? Will you go ahead and tell us what we want you to run for next, please? I'm
not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Good.
I'm not doing it. That will be the only political answer you get from me is, I don't know. No, I have been invited to Mar-a-Lago a couple times. I went for a Moms for America event. It was called the Mothers of Influence Awards, where we gave some awards to some people that have done really amazing things for mama bears and representing moms and parents across our nation, and putting some things into place that I can't really quite talk about yet. But we're really excited about that. I didn't get one-on-one time with our president, unfortunately, but he was in the room and did, make an entrance. So it was awesome. I was there again a second time for Helping a Hero. If you guys don't know about that organization, it is an organization that helps wounded warriors, prior service members that have amputees. They help them build accessible homes for them, and that was an amazing thing to be a part of. I got to be in a room full of just patriots, and it's been such a long time since I've been around military, except for my husband. But being in a group full of military, it's been really awesome to kind of share that connection, and you get to see these men and women that they don't have legs, and you're like, well, how are you able to, how are you able to be so positive? And they're up there and they're dancing with their wives and they're cracking jokes about why they don't have it's crazy. It was really funny. It was really awesome to be around that. But yes, and I am still in touch with our governor's team, and we'll just wait and see. 2023, anything can happen, you guys. I know that his eyes are on our school board. Good. They have not been following the law. It's taken them way too long, way beyond the deadline to answer the Department of Education's letter demanding that they address certain issues that our school board is having to codify the law, such as no critical race theory and diversity, equity, inclusion, all of these things, and the sexually explicit materials that we have in our schools. So they're trying to figure out how they can circumvent the law, but our governor's eye is on it, and they're in touch with me, so we're good.
All right, we're gonna actually have to cut the questions
Sorry,
short
y'all.
on this one, so we can move on to the next segment.
I'll be here.
But everybody, Aly Legge.
Okay, we actually still have our 3 endorsees here, so how about everybody come up and we'll get a picture, and then you guys can do what you need to do.
Sounds good.
Feel a little long, I'm sorry.
Well, come on. You guys get them too.
Oh, thank you.
I can take yours.
Let's go. You guys are awesome.
This is cool.
Move that.
Now I think it was a wall to put them on.
I miss y'all.
You guys can stand around here.
Be still, kids.
You can get one by
Yes, sir.
yourself.
Yes.
All right.
Couple more, hold on.
What? Hold on.
Jump into. Got it.
Good?
We're good?
All right, all right. All right, so for the next segment, the next individuals that are going to come up to speak, each of them are going to have 5 minutes to speak. There will be no questions in this next segment. So hold all your questions until the end when we have the open forum, okay? All right, so next up, I'd like to welcome center stage our lovely Hillsborough Rec Chairwoman, the one and only Dana Galen. By the way, I just want to say one thing before she comes up here and speaks, because she's a beautiful speaker, but she's even more beautiful singer. So I just want to put that out there.
Now, on the way from the car to in here, my shoe broke. Oh. So that's why I'm limping, okay? But one thing I wanted to make sure that Aly knew, where is she, is that quite unlike Aly, I've been called every name in the book, okay? So that's okay. But you gotta develop a thick skin, and you got to learn that people are people, and everyone has a different view of life, and everyone has a different opinion of how they think everything should be run. But when you're working with people, you have to work with people from your heart. And something that I have learned since I've been in this position, first of all, every time I'm asked for an interview, they always have a gotcha question in there. And the gotcha question is always something that will make me speak negatively about other Republicans. and I'm just not going to do it. I don't allow them to put me in those positions. I do not accept that, and I've been asked questions about things that, you know, about other people or whatever, what they said 5 years ago or 3 years ago, and I always switch it around to say, you know, we are very positive people, and we want everyone to have the best. And perhaps other people want to criticize us, that's fine, but you're not going to hear it out of me, right? Because they want to see enmity between you and me, and we cannot allow that to happen. We have to support each other. We have to support conservative Republicans. We have to support people with values and morals, because if we don't, just as so many of us have spoken about, we're going to look back later on and say, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And you know, life is a long journey. For most of us, it's a very long journey. But we have to make the best of what we have, because if we don't, others will tear us down. But I wanted to let you guys know that I got a call today from Europe for an interview. And do you know why? Guess why? Because I'm the first black female that has ever been the chair of the Hillsborough, you know, of anywhere in Florida. That's why. But most importantly, it was because they had heard about our great Governor DeSantis over there, right? Cool. So the guy is flying here to Tampa to find out how we feel about our fantastic governor. And they wanted to experience free Florida. Isn't that wonderful? I was so blessed. I couldn't understand a word he said, but I did. I'm only kidding. But he was Dutch, spoke very good English. But it was very interesting. I'm thinking, gosh, people are so interested in Florida because of our wonderful governor. How blessed are we? And how many of us don't want him to leave? Yeah, we don't want him to leave. But you know, we are going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. Should he decide to move on, we understand. But just remember, with a lot of prayer, we can get someone else in there that is very, very much like DeSantis. But right now, I am very blessed to be among true conservatives. I am very blessed to be working with some of the most wonderful people that God could have given me to work with. And we are doing very exciting things. We are backing up all of our candidates. We're out there already putting up signs. We have a great get out the vote master here, Rick, who is the vice chair. And you know, then we have Gina over here, who is our treasurer. But we're working hard for Hillsborough, and you're going to see some things that are very different. And that's a good thing, because we're not comfortable, we're very uncomfortable, and that's a good place for us to be. It's good for us to feel like, you know what, when I wake up in the morning, my feet are going to be to the fire. So I just better jump out of bed really quickly and get to work. And that's what we do. But we also do it because there's a lot of prayer. And, you know, we forgive each other for little mistakes here and there. We're all human. But we're working as hard as we can. And we're going to make this a great time. You guys are going to have so much fun. And you're going to get so tired of winning, as Trump says. But we are going to win. And we're going to do better. And we want to make Democrats feel a little uncomfortable. Oh, heck, we want them to feel a lot uncomfortable.
Sorry, I have
No
to cut
problem,
you off.
no
We
problem.
gotta keep this thing moving, but everybody, give Dana a hand, please. All right. Next up, we have our Tampa City Council candidate, candidate for Tampa City Council District 1, Chase Harrison.
I'm back.
Yes.
I want to apologize for my voice right now. My allergies are really kicking into high gear with all the pollen, but I'm going to push through this thing. I think everybody in here at some point has met me in the last year and a half. And I didn't win my primary last year. I lost by 1.2%. Had I lost by 30 or more, you probably never saw me again. I live in the city of Tampa. I'm one of the few Republicans who run for office that does. And maybe this is what God was setting me up to do, because the Tampa City Council is abysmal. It's dysfunctional. Yes. It's combative amongst itself. It isn't getting anything done. They're trying to make some major changes to the city charter, which is our constitution, to run the city, because they're at odds with the mayor. They had written up five changes to the charter to send it to the mayor, and she did something that I support her on. She vetoed it. And a veto from the mayor of the city of Tampa has not occurred in anyone's memory at this point. Even Mayor Buckhorn didn't agree with what the council was doing when he was the mayor. He just set it aside, and after 15 days without his signature became law. But Mayor Castor went beyond that and used her veto power, would put it back to the council. And no, those ballots, they had to re-vote on them, but those initiatives now become ballot initiatives on March the 7th. The only one that they didn't pass the second time was for the Citizens Review Board to have subpoena power for the police department. And just a little background on that, the controversy with that is the inner city people, if they could subpoena them, maybe there's a hidden agenda there to get them to now be compelled to tell the truth of what they saw, what actually could help the police, because they were a witness to something, and now they have to go back and live in that community. So I would never vote for subpoena power for the Citizen Review Board. Some things that are going on with the city you may not be aware of. Is everybody familiar with the term of food desert? Everybody's heard of that? If you don't know what that is, I'm glad. Let me give you my quick scenario. I have just a few minutes. Let's say we have a young lady, husband's abandoned her, she's got 2 kids, they live in a Section 8 house. They're living in a really bad neighborhood, they have no money. They don't even want her to work because whatever money she made working would just go to child care. So stay home with your infants. But the problem is there's no grocery store nearby. There's no Publix or cash and carry. They end up using their food stamps at a local mom and pop store, and that's not healthy food, right? So they're feeding Slim Jims or whatever to their kids. Because the crime in those neighborhoods has put those grocery stores out of business. I'm going to approach someone like Publix or Cash and Carry who has made a fortune on food stamps. Back when Obama had over half the country on food stamps, remember that? These companies were raising their prices incrementally because when you're shopping and it's not your money, you don't care how much you pay for anything in the store. Well, now it's time for them to get some skin in the game. I want to enable them to put an app on their phone that they can shop with, and on Tuesday or Wednesday, instead of trying to use a bus to go to the store and you can only carry what you can carry, especially with a kid in your arm, they're going to have a van show up in a local church parking lot. So we're going to get the faith-based organizations that are tax exempt involved.
That's good.
And then they can walk 2 blocks, get their fresh groceries, milk and everything, and go back to their house. These inner cities, as a police officer in Tampa, I have witnessed this, and I'm the only person right now running for District 1 that has any law enforcement background. Mr. Casper, the owner of all the McDonald's that just sold all those franchises, he's a Republican, and he's going to be running against Bill Carlson, who is the mayor's arch enemy. And she is already supporting Mr. Casper because of his law and order, and also he can get rid of Bill Carlson, which is a pain in her side. So there's other issues. Everybody's aware of maybe historically black cemeteries in the area getting bulldozed over for development. Everybody familiar with that? No? Yep. Even 60 Minutes is involved now. They have over 600 graves just in the city of Tampa that are parking lots, churches, Robles Park, which is a public housing area, built over abandoned 50-year-old black cemeteries. They don't even know who's buried there. There's a woman named Reba who we're going to be doing an interview with here real soon, so get on Facebook. She's really pressing to get this taken care of. She goes to city council. They get 3 minutes to talk. They don't even listen to her. And so the last time that we were there, we got with her, I talked to her. It's like, what do you want? You want the bodies exhumed and moved to another black cemetery? She said, no. I just want acknowledgement, like a memorial. That's all it is, just a memorial, but they don't even bother to ask, right? So imagine if that was your family member, your grandmother, your aunt, your father. So that's what's going on in Tampa. So things are pretty abysmal. With my background, I want to start working with the police as far as safe neighborhoods. The last, what had started this charter review issue was Mary O'Connor being hired as the police chief. And what the mayor has done, when she was the police chief, she had her command staff. And now as mayor, she has brought all those people on board as all the department heads. Yeah. Oh, that was 5 minutes. Oh. Yeah. Well, go to votechaseharrison.com.
All right, our next speaker, another Tampa City Council candidate, is our very own candidate for District 3, George Feshev.
Hey, George.
All right, thank you everybody to coming here for our RLC meeting. My name is George Feshev, and I'm running for Tampa City Council District 3 to make our city safer. You know me, I was a victim of violent crime. I was shot in the head 3 years ago while having dinner like you're doing right now in my house. The bullet came through the wall, hit me, and left me with a little bit of speech impairment, but the doctor says it will go away shortly. Hopefully it will be shortly. I choose to come to Tampa. I was not born here. I like it. And besides the hard time I had for the last 3 years, I will stay here and I will fight for all of us. First, we have to empower the police to do their job. Without the police, we cannot have a safety. Broken window program, maybe most of you are familiar with, is proven to be successful in some large cities. The core of the program is prosecuting the small crimes and not let them to just slip away. And those criminals, they have more appetite and become more violent and brutal. And then we concentrate to take the big criminals, but the replacement comes right after. So this is one of the ways we can have our safety. I had a meeting this morning with the police union, and one of the questions was how I can motivate the police to do a better job. Basically, it's higher pay, early retirements. I'm 52, going to 53. I probably can't fight 2-3 people at the same time like I used to able when I was in military special force in Bulgaria. So the other point, major point in the program is the taxes. I will advocate for lower taxes and I will fight any attempt to raise them again. Yes. We lost Ray Stadium yesterday, and before this we lost Moffitt Center to Pasco. And for the period of time between 2019 and 2021 March, we have 8.5% sales taxes, which is the highest taxes in Florida. Consider they are saying it's a penny tax. Comparing with Pasco, which is 7%, and Orlando, which is a 6.5% sales taxes, and having 8.5% taxes here, this is about between 25 and 30% more taxes. And the big companies, they run with a management that knows how to calculate the budgets, so they don't pay that much of percentage high taxes. And from the other word, I can say that this is a fiscal tool that doesn't work effectively in a small geographical area. People will go for another 2 miles and buy the expensive furniture or appliances, even if they have to do like a $300-400 grocery purchases. People will cross the state line and even the country line. I can give you an example going from Europe, how they go between the countries. to have to save money on the taxes and balance their budgets. The other point with the program is going to be the accountability. So victim of crime, I try to talk to the police chief for the last 3.5 years and I never got a chance. They built like a firewall of those secretaries. Not that I have to say something very important to the police chief, but I want to make sure they know what is going on in Tampa. In 2021, we have 21 murders. And for the new police chief, I will insist to promise to be personally involved in the investigation of those major crimes. This will build a trust within a society and with the police. Also will build trust within the police itself, the police chief with the patrols on the street, and will send a strong signal to the criminals that this behavior is not going to be tolerated no more, because we have to draw a big red line. The tolerance has to be a zero tolerance on the major crimes. We can't live like this. Something about me, like I said, I came here in 2001, the green card. I always wanted to come here. I love it here. I was born in a small town in the Bulgarian Black Sea coast, graduated local school, then went to the high school in the big town, mechanical techniques, then joined the military for the 2 years. I was selected for a special service, mandatory. It was a mandatory service. After this military, I went to the university, one of the first private university in Eastern Europe, graduated with master degree in management, organizational behavior, and international laws. I started the local tourism organization in 1998. I was 28 years old. I was a chairman for the organization. Then we start with the regional branch organization of tourism, and that organization became part of the National Board of Tourism. I did my post-graduation in Athens, Greece, program of the European Union. It was the historic tourism and heritage preservation. It was a beautiful program. Now I serve on the historic preservation board in Hillsborough County, appointed by county commissioners. I have the experience, I have the education, and I have the will to do the job. And this is not a job for me, this is a calling. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is going to be Tampa Mayor write-in candidate, Belinda Noah.
Yes, good evening, good evening. We have to take our city back. And the way we will do that is to make sure that you do the easy process of writing Belinda Noah on your ballot. It is so easy, and our lives depend on it, because there are only 2 individuals in that race for mayor of Tampa, and that's me and the incumbent. Belinda Noah. It's vital that you vote for me. Now, we mounted a petition drive, but it was over the holiday, so most of the people that would have supported us were not in town. So we came up short with the petition gathering. However, we will win this. We will win this just like others have done so. Senator Murkowski, other mayoral candidates, as long as we have the support of everyone. Now, I ran for judge in August, and I received approximately 88,000 votes. And a lot of those people will be voting for me again. So it's incumbent upon you all to vote for Belinda Noah. I cannot emphasize that enough. It's an easy process. And we will be having artistic contest throughout the city, just to encourage individuals to write Belinda Noah as creatively and artistically as you can, because we want to maintain the momentum. Because this mayor has shown a total lack of leadership. This mayor has shown a total disregard for the Constitution. For example, she decided to impose the COVID-19 mandate on the hardworking City of Tampa employees in violation of Florida law. That is totally unacceptable. And it has caused irreparable harm to many of those employees because some of them had already, for example, had COVID, or they had medical exemptions or religious exemptions. And again, it was against Florida law. We cannot allow such a person to represent us in the City of Tampa as mayor. It is a disgrace. And not only that, she has been under 2 Department of Justice investigations for alleged misconduct, illegality, for example, bicycling while black, renting while black. And one of those investigations is still open. And moreover, as some of you have already alluded to, she hired a police chief that was on board for less than a year and had to resign because of unethical conduct. So it just goes on, and of course, many of you may not be aware of it, but there's a program called the Mayor's Corps. And unfortunately, that corps, and it's comprised of young people, middle school, high school. That corps, that mayor's corps, is being misused. It's unacceptable. They are posting, and I know that Aly and others will be definitely concerned about that, because they are posting this sexual content concerning LGBTQ propaganda. That is not the purpose of a mayoral corps. It is totally unacceptable, and they are also citing, linking it to some international groups that are promoting this agenda to young children. That is not the purpose of that, and it must be stopped. So that gives you another indication of what we're dealing with. We must do everything in our power to ensure that I am elected, because I am, as I said, the only candidate in the race against her. So I am from Florida, native Floridian. I love the people of Florida. I love the people of Hillsborough County, of the city, and I just want what's best. I want Tampa to be a beacon of hope internationally, a beacon of light for everyone. I want us to be the envy of the world, and it will take the right type of leadership in that position. And you will do so by electing Belinda Noah. Now, I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer since I was in my early 20s. I have vast experience. So my qualifications far surpass the incumbent. I've worked internationally. I'm licensed in Florida. I'm licensed overseas in Ghana. I've worked as a professor, teaching environmental law, health law. I was the first lawyer to start a legal talk show here in Tampa, advising individuals on how to avoid legal pitfalls. And I've worked as a director of an international accelerator program that we have graduated companies that have gone on to become multi-billion-dollar companies. So as mayor, I will bring in those types of investment dollars to Tampa. I will bring in income-producing projects so that we will be elevated with respect to the incomes and the opportunities, because right now we are at the lower end as with respect to the incomes. That's not acceptable. I will alleviate the homeless crisis that we are facing. It has gone from bad to worse under this incumbent's watch, right? So those are the types of things that I will do. I will be a good steward of the taxpayers' money. Unlike what's happening now, as a lot of us, you all have alluded to, Josh, Chase, and others. So again, it's easy, it's so easy. You just write in Belinda Noah, that's all you need to do, and spread the word, and I need support. We need donations, we need support. So go to www.belindaformayor.com. And thank you so much.
Hi there, I'm Daisy, everyone. So we have Debbie Hunt here today. Where's Debbie? Oh, there she is. She's from the County of Citizens Defending Freedom, and she has a cause that she's going to tell you about.
Good evening. And I know this is at the end of your evening, so for this, so I will make it quick. I'm with County Citizens Defending Freedom. And I recognize a number of you, and there's a number of you who I have never seen before. We are an organization, it's a national organization. Our group here in Hillsborough County is focused just on Hillsborough County to empower and equip citizens to defend the freedoms that we are to have and that are being taken away from us. And so we have 4 pillars that we focus on. We are very focused in that we're not going to go off on a bunch of rabbit trails. Election integrity, Rick Bateman is here with me tonight as well. He is focused on the election integrity issues. We have a faith group, and you know what? We can do nothing without our faith. And we have some incredible prayer warriors who are praying for those who are running for office, those who are fighting the fight, and those who aren't fighting the fight that should be fighting the fight. We also have a research and an analysis group, which is really looking at follow the money, because the follow the money tells you everything about what's really going on. I am over the education group and have been working closely with Aly and many others related to the school board, with the sexual health education curriculum that they have out there that is totally inappropriate for the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. It's totally about sexualizing the children. It's about indoctrinating them, grooming them, exploiting them, teaching them what they just have no business knowing. There were a number of us who did the reviews on the curriculum, and we learned things we'd never heard of. And why would we want 7th, 8th, and 9th grade children learning that? The initiative that I was talking to her earlier about was we also have a book initiative where we have a couple of hundred books that are in the school libraries that parents expect to be age appropriate and be something that is good for the kids to be reading. This is one that has been talked not only nationally but internationally. It's a book called Gender Queer. It takes kids to a sex app for gay men and encourages them to engage, for them to upload their pictures, information about them. This is for children. It's got pornographic pictures in here that they would like to say, oh, that's not porn, those are just, if you look at them, they're just comics. But if you, and I will leave the book up here so anybody can take a look at it. I've tabbed a couple of the key spots. But my ask of you is, if you are a reader, if you would please get a book from me or get a list of books from me that you can take a book and go read it. Guard your heart. There is stuff in there that kids shouldn't be reading, and most adults don't even want to read. So if you have an interest or are willing to help out or know people that are willing to help out, please take some information when you go, and they can get in touch with me at any time, and I'm happy to help them through our process so that we can get every book read and use it as an initiative to get them removed from the libraries. They're not appropriate. So, any questions?
Are these in the libraries at various schools now?
Yes, ma'am.
They are?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And they may be in, there's books in the elementary schools that are not appropriate. It's teaching, and they have covers that are so enticing to the little girls or the little boys, and they start reading it, and so many of them go to their parents and say, why are they telling me to have sex? Or why are they telling me that it's okay for me to be a girl when I'm a little boy? Or vice versa. And so that's in there as well. Totally not appropriate.
Yeah,
And
so
and we should trust our schools, not.
Contact her group.
What's that?
Yeah, so if anyone do any reading for her, right?
Yes, and I have a couple books with me,
Yeah.
with information, and a couple of lists with me, if you're willing to help.
Okay,
Very
wonderful.
much appreciated.
Okay, Debbie, thank you so much. Lance Wessinger, who is from the Americans for Prosperity. There he is.
Yeah, I just wanted to, oh, I'm sorry. You can clap for him and then I'll say something.
So I'm going to be extremely brief. I know it's getting late. Lance Wissinger, Americans for Prosperity, former vice chair of the Lee County Republican Liberty Caucus. So glad to see the growth that has happened here. Last year was my first year up here. I haven't even been here a full year yet. So I'm still getting to know a lot of people. I know I've missed out. Rick, I got to get back with you. I definitely will. Aly, I hope my policy team got back to you. If not, we need to connect.
Yes, we do.
So our big thing that we're pushing right now is education savings accounts, and we just celebrated School Choice Week where we did a big event in Orlando. I would love to be able to do something like that here in Tampa, but again, this is on me as I'm getting to know everyone, getting used to the area, and not having to knock. Me and two other guys did 20,000 doors in Hillsborough County last year for Laurel Lee and Jay Collins. So we were specifically focusing on minority communities and communities that maybe a lot of times get overlooked. So I took my team out to these neighborhoods, and I hope that that's what helped get these people past the finish line. So big three: education, healthcare, and economic progress. Those are the big three that we're focusing on this year in the state legislature. My personal passion is criminal justice reform. I'm happy to talk to you guys about any of that. I love questions about criminal justice reform and how conservatives can get involved in criminal justice reform. John and I have had some really good conversations looking at both sides of how that works. But I'm happy to talk to any of you guys afterwards, and I thank you guys so much for the time and super excited about this.